You're listening to the Men's Mental Health Podcast, The Man Hug.
Welcome to The Man Hug, the monthly men's mental health podcast. I'm Dean McShane.
I'm Dan Cooper.
I'm Ian Pearce-Hayes.
And I'm Conleth Kelly.
Each month we will discuss a different topic related to men's mental health, which will include a guest speaker who will discuss their own personal story. And each month we will also be showcasing an organisation or charity within the Merseyside area who work within mental health to help build your signposting skills. Hello, welcome to this month's Man Hug. This month we are focusing on the theme of movement. We have two more fantastic guests. A little later on, we will be joined by Brian, who is the founder of Thrive Guys, who are a group who use movement as a means of bringing men together in the outdoors to build a safe social space. Our first guest is Rob Glover, who we heard speak at the recent Speakers Collective conference, and he did a great job of getting the whole room moving and spoke so passionately about movement that we just had to have him come and join us. So Rob, welcome to the Man Hug.
Thank you very much for having me. I know timing wise on this, but Happy New Year, lads.
Oh, yeah. Belated Happy New Year.
Belated indeed.
So what we do with every guest, Rob, is just start off by just telling us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. First and foremost, it is an absolute pleasure. I think what it is that you are doing is so needed. I feel like this feels less of an interview is what I want to say first and more of just this collective conversation. So I just want to say that I'm a massive fan as to, you know, from getting to meet you and then from understanding what it is. So thank you once again for having me on. I am a Bootle lad originally. I grew up as a dancer, choreographer, and then eventually kind of a performance coach as a layer of that. I guess dance for me really first started with a man that is my idol, and that was my granddad. Okay. So my granddad used to, well, both my nan and my granddad used to run 5 or 6 line dance classes all over Liverpool. Right. And it was their way of keeping me out of trouble as a kid. I'd get paid 50p for every dance that I learned. And then some of the Latin and ballroom layers of that, you know, tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree, and all of a sudden I get given a quid. So straight away, even at a very young age, I was around a lot of adults. I was around a lot of, I was around kind of communities, I guess, that had been built for entertainment, yes, but for a shared love of this collective layer of movement, and I think that's what fascinated me in the initial. Growing up in Bootle and saying that you're a dancer was an interesting one. And then kind of all I wanted to do initially was then the other layer of movement that I was fascinated by was A, football, and B, kind of the boxing layer. And I remember a conversation very early on with my granddad, and he went, well, if you want to be able to perform at your best, you need to learn to dance. And it'll help you later on in life. Little did I know he was planting that seed as well. So I went to a dance school in West Derby called Chilton's, and I started in a ballet class. Yeah. And I remember kind of the stigma and the layer of all of that, even at a young age, but walking in, and I felt like the dyslexic young lad could finally voice in a non-verbal form of communication. And very quickly I was able to kind of articulate, and I was in a room that it was a room that I felt I belonged. And I couldn't quite understand what that was initially, but I knew I was addicted. So then fast forward, that was always kind of the driving force. I remember then at kind of 12 and 13, whenever they'd go away on holiday, I'd then run the classes. So then I was teaching and I was DJing, and my mum would sit on the door, or my auntie would be over there, and all of these different classes. And then I used to teach and compete abroad. So I had about 40 or 50 students in Finland when I was kind of in my early teens, and the same in Switzerland. And I'd leave school on a Thursday. I'd get on a flight. So I'd be off school on the Friday and off school on a Monday. And even my school, luckily, the head of our year would kind of approve that and was kind of positive towards what it was that I wanted to do in a career within the arts. And I think I was extremely lucky at the time to not only kind of have that bubble, so to speak, wrapped around me, not only from the home life, but also then from the school life. And I realise now later on in life that not everyone gets that opportunity. So, yes, fast forward, a career within dance was something that I always wanted, and it was those auditions and getting the train down to London and, you know, the cheapest trains that you could. So then you stood outside this audition centre or this studio space freezing, because all you could afford was, or also could afford, was either the coach or the early train. And then even if I got knocked out the first round, I've still got to wait then to the other off peak before I could get back. So I'm sat in London going, right, okay. That spurred me on to go, there's got to be something different here. And that's where my kind of love for teaching and choreographing came from. And then, yes, with Broadway and the musical theatre layer and all of these films that I'd watch, I was like, I need to get over to the States at some point. And I think that's that innate curiosity of a Scouser, and this idea of the sea and these stories and my love for country music and the storytelling layer. And I was like, as soon as I'm old enough, I'm going to be getting over the States. So I put everything into that. So I did. I got me visas, and I moved to the US. I've lived the majority of my adult life over there. So I lived in the States for 17 years. I've now got my passport and dual citizenship, which ironically has given me the freedom to come home and kind of catch back up with my family. But the goal was I treated moving to the States like I went to college. And I wanted to understand LA and the TV and film industry and make genuine, honest friendships and connections. I wanted to understand Nashville and the music industry and do the same. I realised that, you know, similarly to over here, it's the upper echelons of the jobs. It's gone to Eton, what school and college you went to, it's the same in the States. And it's the collegiate network. So luckily I was like, well, how do I get in that room? What room can I get in? And how can I have genuine, honest, open conversations in certain rooms? And dance was that vehicle. That was my currency to be able to get into certain rooms. So fast forward, I found myself teaching at like Harvard and MIT, the Latin and ballroom teams, and managing a studio in Boston, and then all of a sudden it's just connecting certain dots. My worlds collided then when New England Sports Ventures, or Fenway as it's known now, bought me club. And it was really interesting to then go, hang on a minute, there's nods to come back home. So if I treated moving to the States like I went to college, I've treated getting my passport as my PhD, and now I'm back home and I'm going, right, okay, what can we have some fun with? That's, I enjoy long walks on the beach and my favourite drinks, whatever you put in front of me.
Unbelievable. I mean, just to, you know, put all that together in a short period of time, because I'm sure, you know, you could probably look at this in higher accolades of achievements for what you've done. You know, it's unbelievable, really, mate. But in terms of like dance, I just want to focus on that a little bit, because I don't understand in terms of the pressures that you would have been on in certain situations. I'm just thinking, you know, learning dance routines and performing and all the rest of it comes with massive stresses. So, like, for a young person who's gone to another country, how did you deal with that amount of stress and pressure, really?
Truthfully, I didn't. I adapted. I had to learn to navigate. I don't think you ever really fully deal with something. And I knew that there was this fire that was within me that drove me on. And I think that even then, being a working class lad, and from where I'm from, I think that there's that added layer. So I didn't see the challenges ahead of me in that context. I saw them as more, I've got to prove myself here, and I can't let that slip. I've got an opportunity to get a job, to audition, to get a job, But then what's really interesting is once you get a job, halfway through it, you've got to think about what's next, because they're only small contractual opportunities. So I think every day was another chance for me to not only prove to myself I could do something, but also then repay me family for the investment that they put into me financially, yes, with what little that they had, but time-wise as well, and kind of the emotional layers of all of that. I think that's what really spurred me on, and I never ever felt alone in that. So I think I dealt with it by knowing that I wasn't on my own.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, you've just added more pressures onto that. Really, I'm just thinking, God, you added more and more pressure into that scenario. As you say, thinking, I've got to do this for my family. I've got to do it to prove other people as well. It's incredible amount of pressure to deal with.
I guess when you say it like that, yeah, and I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it now. Yeah. I'm feeling the hairs stand up and kind of that internal layer. But I also see it a different way. I saw that as that's my team, and I've got a team around me, and I think that's growing up even where we're from and knowing what a team scenario was. So I had, if I really think about it, I had, yes, a community layer that I'd known from the dance classes and my grandparents' classes. Yes, then a classroom environment, for lack of a better term, within ballet and the dance classes. I had a one-on-one belief and structure with certain adults that were in my life that shaped me in a way to be able to perform. But also I had this team behind me that was my family unit, and I'm extremely lucky to look back and go, yeah, those are the things that you do have, rather than focus on the things that I didn't have. Yeah.
Well, I suppose now when you reflect back on that with all of your experience and knowledge now, what do you kind of think, with the young person that, in that situation? Do you think that there's other things that you could have done better to deal with it, or, or manage stresses better, or you actually, I'm pretty proud of what I did there,
That's a tough question. I would say that when I reflect back on my life's journey, I'd say that it's all been a rehearsal to where I'm at right now. And to use those dance terms, I feel like, I've been able to navigate all, I know it sounds so bloody cliche, but I've been able to dance my way through life. And understand that I've got a part to play even in my own life. And I see the world through a dancer's lens, is the best way I can say that. Like, everything to me is choreography. Like, my entire life has been to provide space and to keep somebody on balance every single step that they take. That's what I think it's really taught me. And even when I'm watching footy or I'm watching different bits of sports, I see triangles, I see time, and I see space and time, and I see structures that can kind of inform what it is that we're doing. So in reflection, I'd again come back to it that my life to date has been a rehearsal, and that if I can give back in any way, shape or form, that's what it's led me towards.
That's incredible. Just for anyone who's not in the dance world, so someone like myself, I know Conlif's lived and breathed it with his own children, but for someone like me who's never sort of stepped in that world, how much pressure is on people? Because, like, I don't know, if you're not within that environment, you might only have the view of, I don't know, Black Swan or something like this. You might have watched a film where you think, God almighty, there's so much pressure and impact on people's mental health because of that, the way that the industry is. Is that something that you've seen, or is it just totally miscued, really? You're
exactly right. I think that there's a crabs in a bucket mentality that's based on it, especially in that world. And really, let's be honest, it's that there's not much money in it. So you're going to pick a career within the arts, that it's secondary or even tertiary to sports. So even at school, there's a budget that gets cut for the arts straight away. And then even within that, dance is probably the first budget that gets cut from all of that. So I knew straight away I was addicted to something that really wasn't going to be financially rewarding. As some of my other peers were going off and doing different activities, I guess. So that pressure almost disappeared, and I was free to move and express, I guess. So I think it's a bit of a weird conundrum, and I hope I'm articulating that well enough. So I think the pressure was more on myself, and it was more of that determination again. Those teachers or those lessons that I was in, I knew that I had to take every single second of that and soak it all in, and I had to fight for that, because this is maybe what I can get. This is the currency. It might not be a financial reward, so this is the reward, to get to meet people and get to learn and get to express and get to share with then an audience. Let them into my world a little bit. That's how I got to communicate.
Oh, amazing. You've mentioned space before as well, and it was something that you spoke really passionately about when we seen you at the Speakers Collective. So again, I suppose using your own reflection and your own experience with, why do you think this is such an important thing, especially in terms of like men and their mental health, really?
I think men in particular, we express far more than we ever let on. We express far more than we ever really understand ourselves. And there's so many different movements and gestures within the body, long before you ever open your mouth and before you ever speak. And I think that we talk a lot about talking, but I think what the most important part of it is when you provide space to talk, and we think about it that way, and you've provided a platform right now, and the Man Hug podcast, in my opinion, is again, yes, not an interview. I don't feel like I have to sit here and perform, to use that dance cliche. I feel like I can have an honest, open conversation with the four of you gents right now, and we're here for that one reason. So you've provided a space to me that I'm able to sit comfortably in and fill. Yeah.
No, it's such a good answer, and I think you've worked with the likes of James's Place, haven't you? And you've seen that if men are put in the right space and they're given that right environment, then there's amazing outcomes, and yeah, it's such an important thing, isn't it? Yeah, incredible. In regards to movement, what have you learned that you feel is useful information for other men? This is where we're looking at top tips.
I like it. Okay, cool. So useful for So there's many ways we can go here, right? Yeah. Useful at a wedding, useful at a party, useful to dance up,
useful in life.
Bingo. Okay, so I think movement really it's an interesting one. Like as babies or as kids, you're encouraged to kind of stomp your feet and wiggle your hips and have a dance, and I feel like that's educated out of us. The further you go in life, and it stops at sport because there's a lot of money to be made in it, right? And I think that the pressures come into that then when you look at like football academies in this country, for example, where the amount of money that's been thrown at a family for their kid to perform and then go on and be the breadwinner of that family. Ultimately, that's movement. So to come right back to it, and I'd say a couple of different things. So if you're looking for tips on how to move, I think that there's a rhythm that's inside all of us, and it's understanding about listening to what that rhythm is. When we sleep, we go through cycles. When we wake up, when you throughout the day, you've got a rhythm to your day to day. Tap into that a little bit more. I think understanding how you sit, how you move, how you interact with people. I think it's observing what you do in terms of movement initially. We walk, run, jump. It's all about getting the heart rate elevated, and it's all about then making sure that my movement connects internally first before I then give permission for somebody else to interact with me. And what I mean by that then is my movement, my body language, the way I express is either going to allow me to open up, or it's going to keep me closed. And when you look at like people, but in particular men, there's either the sat at the pub and there's the pint and it's the shoulders are down and it's drawn, or you're sat on a bus or you're on a train or you see it slumping down the streets. Like, but I also feel as though whenever there's an activity there, so I'd say that men want to feel useful. I want to fix something. I'll come and do this for you. I'll be there for you. That's movement. How you turn a screwdriver, how you hit the hammer. Like, what are those little layers of it? So you move in ways that you don't realise. So the biggest tip that I come back to is understanding what it is that you do and how you move, and recognising then how you feel, or how that movement can make you feel. And it can be the slightest little gesture. Yeah. It doesn't have to be anything sports and play footy and do this and basketball and whatever. It doesn't have to be dance.
Yeah. It's so true, because I think, not just men, think any of us can not realise what our body's doing, especially when we're under stress, or or our mood's low, or we're anxious. There's a lot of the time, as you say, it might be in the shoulders, might be in the jaw, might be anywhere where we're tense and things, and having a good understanding of that can be so beneficial for our mental health, can't it? So I think you just hit the nail on the head. I know the boys are going to ask you loads of questions. There's just one big juicy one I really want to ask you before I hand over. Do you still have the same love and joy for dance when you were a kid?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Like when I sit in a theatre, or when I'm watching a new film that's come out, or I see different bits of movement, and then luckily my work has kind of allowed me to be on set, even in photo shoots with athletes, and to me that's dancing. Like, to go, right, okay, here I am as a movement coach or a choreographer on set at the minute. In the back of my head, that love that you're talking about is still alive, and that flame belongs to me. So yes, wholeheartedly, I still have that love and that passion. I might not be teaching it as much. It might not be my sole vocation anymore. I'll be honest with you, I don't like competing against 20-year-olds. So the competition days are all gone. But I feel like how can I enhance the choreography or movement within anything that I'm working on?
And have you ever danced yourself just to get that buzz?
Defo.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. I see myself even at Asda now, like a certain song comes on and I can't help but boogie
in the shower or whatever, I just want to know if you still got that fire where you just absolutely love it.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It just reminded me there, whenever years ago with our Erin, I shouldn't be saying her name, but anyway, it's out there. Whenever she'd be like, Erin, you got to go and hoover. And she'd be hoovering, and she'd be doing just hoovering. It's like, freaking hell. Like, just non-stop movement.
But then that's why that Queen song, isn't it? What a Break Free was just so powerful, because he's with the hoover, and it's that, isn't it? And it's that whole thing.
But the genius part of that, we still talk about that. How many men look at that and go, do you know what? Actually, yeah. And it's the image of Tom Cruise sliding in his socks, and that little moment. We'll all do it.
I'm going to throw
We're all
Mrs.
capable of
Doubtfire
it.
with the hoover as well, if that's a suit.
It's dead true. I was in there's a great big DIY near us, and I went in there, and then all of a sudden I was at the counter, I was paying and stuff then, and it was all blokes in there, and it's all, they do for, people who are in the trade, so it was all blokes, and I felt really unmanly, but trying to look manly and stuff there. And all of a sudden, they had Queen came on, Bohemian Rhapsody, and I just looked, I could see in this they had like a mirror out, and I looked round, and I could see everyone in that room, and it was all around with just singing to themselves or just rocking, and I was laughing to myself. I love Queen. But it was just that whole thing, because it's a song that really gets people, and people were so just in their own little world, and I just thought, wow, you could set the whole thing to music. It's just amazing.
You're thinking of Phil Monty.
Everyone's off we go. Absolutely. Here's the best part. I think all of us came to that conclusion at the same time. That was on the tip of my tongue. And it's mad, isn't it? But it's beautiful to me to say, right, okay, these are scenes that happen in films that allow us to ultimately sit in a dark room to watch a film, sit and reflect. I'm in a space of comfort, and something is able to spark in my head that then all of a sudden we might not want to talk about it, but it's that little subtle look. That song comes on and you're all like, yeah, go ahead. But after a few pints and maybe on the dance floor at a wedding, that comes on and those inhibitions go out the window and you give it a good go.
But some of the things, I'm not going to go on about this, because being a dance dad, I know my daughter did musical theatre, you know, all those kind of things. She studied abroad, and she's now still linked in with that. But just very quickly, just say that I won't mention the place where she went. Well, she went for an interview, an open day, and the vice chancellor was there. Goes, yeah. The thing is like, yes, you have to pay for this. You have to pay tuition fees, but look at it this way: the amount of money you're going to make in this, you're never going to have to pay it back. So it's a degree for free. And all these parents are going, oh yeah. And at the back of my head, someone who went down the vocational route, I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't think of those things. But it's about making those opportunities yourself, manifestations and things. I was just thinking, this is what you want to do. So yes, I could go down the route of talking about the expense, because it is, I think it has been proven, it's one of the most expensive for parents.
Absolutely. Routes
to go down, really? Whenever it comes to, because it's the competitions, it's the clothes, the ballet shoes and the tights. And my Amazon account keeps coming up like, you know, ballet tights and things like that to me. It's, what do you think about me, like, you know? But, and a couple of things, like, you know, because what she did do, my daughter and a couple of her friends as well, they were linked in with the Samaritans, and they did an advert for the Samaritans all regarding dance. But I went down and interviewed them for the Man Hug, and one of the things I did actually question them was just, you know, whenever you're actually dancing, you know, what you prefer, like, you know, dancing for a crowd and all these things, or just being by yourself. And every single one of them goes, just being myself, being that creative, being that person in my own space. I don't need people looking at me and things. I'm just going for it, whatever. And I think that was really powerful.
So powerful.
It was beautiful, like, you know, just. But my final thing, what I do want to say, and it's a kind of question, you know, bar yourself, like, you know, we're 4 old lads, like, you know, sitting around a table. And sometimes I think, is it changing for younger people, I'm talking about men, younger lads. And I'm just thinking of experiences where I've seen over in the north of Ireland. There was a programme over on BBC Northern Ireland called Keeping Our Country. And it was fantastic. Everybody thought I was taking the mickey about it, thinking, oh, it's only just, you know, look at the Irish people, the country bumpkins. I thought the innocence it had, and it was beautiful. And it was all young people jiving, line dancing, going to competitions, things like that, and just going out and driving there and driving back. That's all it was. And I just thought it was gorgeous seeing this innocence, because whenever I was growing up there, it was none of that. And I just thinking, do you think there is a shift or anything like that, where maybe younger people being more active in dancing? Like, you know, I walked past Blackstone Warehouse the other day, like, you know, where they have massive raves, and it's a good thing. People just lose it. They just go with the music and things. I know why I did that, but alcohol, he said there, alcohol probably had to be involved. You know, I know there's drug elements, things like that. I'm just thinking, is there a thing where people just go, yeah, just that, like daytime discos, you know, things like that. I just think it's a really good time.
No, I love, because the passion that brings out in you.
Yeah.
You started then by saying, this is what I've seen, this is a programme. So again, it comes back to the media aspects of going, we are going to put this out there for people to know that it's okay to do this. Right, okay, so that's ticked.
Yeah.
The other layer then is the community aspect of that.
Massive.
Being around people. We're so isolated right now, and you're on your phones constantly, and you know, we've evolved from this layer of a caveman to then being able to stand up, right? And now we're going backwards, I think, to this keyboard and thumbs over. So the idea of truly being around people, take that a running club, for example, I think that's just the same. Like, take that then where that is, no matter what the space is. The space can be outdoors, the space can be indoors, the space can be in a club, the space can be in a bar, the space can be wherever. One of the biggest things that I loved about when I used to teach in the States is going to like the country bar scenes and understanding that there's thousands of kids, right, thousands of young people that are in these rooms. The collective is, it's the music that's drawing them in, and I think that's the key component. It's the music that's drawing them in there. So the more that then the artists themselves have that responsibility, in my opinion, to educate their own communities and their fan bases, the more that it's seen, the more that we're seeing this resurgence. We said about Queen before. You're looking at some of the artists now that are coming out, and to me, even in cross genres, so young blood, for example, epic, within the bridge between what rock music really is, between and the older rock phrases, the older rock legends are now embracing this new young British kid. but it's igniting this movement, this fire, this passion, this understanding that it's free to express,
well.
community
Okay.
layer. So I would also then argue, and I guess kind of my main point on that is movement doesn't necessarily just mean within your body. What is a movement? We call those movements. So the more that movement can enhance a movement, that's the connective tissue for me. And it's a bridge to then being able to go either talking to somebody that's of an older generation or kind of a younger generation. I can have a chat. I was very, very lucky to be around that with my granddad who installed that in me.
Yeah.
I'm extremely lucky to say that.
Because it's just that, you know, there was one time years ago, I went back to Ireland and somebody who I know passed away, whatever, just by I was there. So went straight to the funeral, more or less off the airplane. And sat in the church, in the chapel, whatever. And next thing, I could see it happening. These two old ladies come walking out. Walking up at the front, I go, here we go. Doing this, whatever. And this was years ago. And next thing they started doing the rosary. Started doing the whole rosary and things. I thought, oh, okay, well, everybody responds. It's this mantra. But then actually then realised we're all one together. We were all together in unison, the whole lot. And it was fucking beautiful. You know, it was gorgeous. And it is those kind of things where you see, you know, I'm bringing religion into here with maybe Buddhist monks, like, you know, things like Hare Krishna, certain Jewish religions as well, parts of it, whatever. And it is, you just see how they're all together as one. You're going, that's great. It's like an accent. So.
There's music involved in it. No, you're right. But look, it's fascinating to me when we talk about a cultural layer. So in so many South American countries, it's not uncommon to have gone on the journey that I've gone on with my family. So it is that it's the movement is encouraged, right? And I feel like in Western society we are, again, coming back to the point I made earlier about educated out of movement. Yeah. I feel like in certain cultures and in certain countries around the world, it is encouraged. Yeah. It's enhanced. It's this idea of breaking bread and having this dance and having these different movements. So whereas the only time that a dance is accepted pretty much over here is at a wedding. It's that first dance. And trust me, I've choreographed so many of them where the fellas particularly have come in and you're like, I've got to do this. Right, my partner said I've got to do this and we've got to do this dance and away we go. But honestly, secretly, it's like they've been waiting for it the whole life.
My daughter used to do that as well. She used to choreograph, you know, for weddings and things like this, whatever. Do it, and she said the exact same. How after maybe 2-3 lessons, they're like, "All right, come on, let's do it." Like, you know, the husband,
the driving force for it.
Absolutely. Clearing all the sofas out of the way, like, you know.
We're all frustrated Fred Astaire at the end of the day.
What a line. I love that. That should be a t-shirt. We're all frustrated Fred Astaire. But it's permission to do it. So that's the other little layer. There's permission, there's consent. Giving somebody the permission to do it, and I feel like space gives that consent and gives that permission subtly without ever really realising it.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
I used to love dancing. As a kid, my mum would say, you need to go to dance classes, and you mentioned about stigma, and I didn't, because I was worried about what my friends would say. And then years later, films like Billy Elliot come out and you're thinking, what was I worried about? You know what I mean? This kid's just absolutely smashing it out of the park, and you just need to have that bravery to go that first lesson, and I've don't regret it, but would have liked to perhaps give.
We can remedy that. We'll get your boogie in.
Well, now and I've gone through my clubbing days, and now just like I'm the dad now. I just can't do it anymore. But
you can.
But just to pick up on, I don't know if you'll agree with what I'm about to say, but from listening to you talk, Rob, you don't see obstacles. I don't think. I just think you see opportunities.
Correct.
And opportunities through movement, whether that be physical movement or metaphorical movement or any type of movement, and it's just amazing to see you talk. And I say this a lot of times. It's all inspiring to hear you talk about the way you've gone about your life, and like I say, everything's an opportunity to help yourself or help others, and what a great way to live your life, you know.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah,
that means the world.
Do you know what's interesting there? I think you're right, you've had those opportunities, but I totally agree with you. I think kids, children are natural dancers, I think, but we educate that out of people, I think. I absolutely agree. Fortunately for yourself that you had a granddad and family that really facilitated, well, more than facilitated, they encouraged you to do that. And I think that's, you know, my wife always talks about, you know, we talk about this STEM in terms of schools, as the maths, English, tech and science, so it's all of that, and it should be STEAM, and it's the arts, because of the, you know, it should be the arts just make that move. And I just think we're natural dancers, and it's educated out. My experience at school, you did not want to stand out in any way, shape or form. 400 kids in a year, you did not. We all had our parkers, we all looked exactly the same, so much for choice, but you did not want to stand out. I can remember, admittedly, it was a young girl who was, you know, I was absolutely, I think the whole school was in love with, and they were in leotards dancing. But they did, Hotel California had come out and they would dance into theirs, and I can still see her and the dance troupe, like Pan's People from Top of the Pops, dancing. And it's still, I love that song and it brings me back. But it was just, it was the movement. It was Penny Johnson dancing. It was just absolutely amazing. But it was just, I still see it now. And I think what's interesting for us, I think, is, and I think why we're so passionate is music. That's what we've all got in common. It's been a real, we've all played, done sort of stuff, at various levels, but we've all played and loved that. And I think movement comes from that. And I just think it's just so important, and that's why the arts just get you out of yourself, and it's finding your own niche. And I can remember speaking to you at the conference, and one of the things that you said is that you can always spot a dancer in a crowded room and in a crowded place 100%. Because they have, it's not just, so there was that a grace, and I guess there is a grace, but it's the way they hold themselves. And just that advice you've given, I just think that's absolutely beautiful, isn't it, about and we sit, how we approach, and it's part of communication, isn't it? You know, body language, 7% of what we actually say is what's taken up, but it's how we see things, how we give voice to that in terms of our body language. It's just so important. So that's absolutely beautiful advice, that. I just think, one, we should be thanking your granddad and your family in terms of that, but also you were able to sense that, I think, and that's what's really nice, is that somehow you've made the most of those opportunities. And your granddad's advice about, you know, this will serve you well later in life. You're not quite there late, but you're later in life from there.
I'm still figuring that one out.
Absolutely amazing.
Thank you very much for saying that. You know, music, the layer of it, right? It's storytelling. And I think that you get lost in stories, and they are 1 to 3 minutes of this journey that you can go on, and it's an escape, for lack of a better term. And at any point in your life, a song can mean something completely different. And then as you rediscover what that is, it's the storytelling. And I think that the singer-songwriters are the main reason that I love to move. And, you know, Nashville was probably the place where I really realised that the most. Like, being able to go out in Nashville and you're having breakfast, lunch and dinner, and you can be around some unbelievable session musicians. It's not just country music, but it's that storytelling layer. And I think that between Boston and Nashville, I felt so at home, because it's a hybrid of what Liverpool is as a city. And I think that, you know, what's happening now within this city, the movement around music again in this city excites me so much. The calibre of talent that we have here, and I really, really hope that it gets encouraged, it gets nurtured, it gets presented, and that we can finally get that right and get us again on a global scale. And that's one of the things that I'm hoping to achieve. So to come back to your point as well, if we can encourage dancing or movement to happen based around these venues and these smaller venues, maybe we'll be able to keep these venues open and alive too. Because music is being sold out and music is being pushed to arena level, that we've got grassroots venues that we all love and we could all think and talk about. Exactly. So what happens if we break down the stigma and we go, do you know what, this is how you can move to this track? Maybe that's just a pipe dream, but I'll keep giving it a good go.
do you know one thing that you've really sort of like sparked with me is kind of subcultures in a sense. You know, when you look back across the UK, you know, history. You know, you have to watch like an Adam Curtis documentary, and there's a clip of either rockers in a club in the 60s, or skinheads in the 70s, or mods in the 60s or 80s. And you just see this, I say, community again of people with identification who are all moving. And that word you used again, that escapism, because I'm thinking now, you know, like mid-90s when like the Cream was open, I was part of that community of just dancing every weekend, But the reason why I did it was escapism. You know, it was a place where you could go over a weekend, be, you know, in the church of dance, and you could just lose yourself for that period of time, collectively with people who didn't care what shapes you were throwing, you know what I mean? And I think we've kind of lost that as we grow older, you know. And I know I personally have. I think as you grow up, you lose a lot of that joy in the dance and the movement.
But you can't control that. You can't control that. You can't. You know, this is society wants to control, like, you know, how we can't make money out of that, all those kind of things. Who was controlled there? It was me working as a medic in Cream nightclub, and I'll be getting people, all right, calm down. Let's have some orange juice.
Calm down.
Right, okay, so there's so much to unpack here. What I love is, A, we're talking about spaces where we felt safe enough to express.
Definitely.
Right? The other layer of that is it was the music layer that drove, again, that movement, that subculture, that layer of it. The other interesting part, though, is I feel like at certain points that was overly exploited, unfortunately, by people that could see the way that they could skim off the top or attack or nurture, and I feel like it was drove out by a lot of drug culture, a lot of gangster layer, a lot of different a lot of the alcohol sectors, like the evil layers of all of that, for lack of a better term, kind of infiltrated the purity of it. And I feel like now we're at a point where a lot of those barriers have been broken down. A lot of, hopefully, this next generation can see through, if I'm all right to swear, the bullshit layer of all of that. And I feel like as we talk more, as we provide space more, and as we open up more, that's the only way we can push through this. There's an interesting little point. I love how you all lit up kind of having that chat, but then it's, you know, I remember this feeling. Like, it's those memories, and I think memory is a key part of this too. So memory is kept alive through means of communication that we pass on. Like right now, we've just recorded this, and this is now a core memory going forward, and it's a moment that I can't wait to look back on in a few years' time and go, do you remember when we said this, and wouldn't it be great if? And I feel like every single episode of your podcast is reminding people to do just that. So the more that we talk, the more that we open up, the more that we kind of have those conversations, to me that then creates a movement.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, I'm sure. Sorry, you've all got questions, but just one thing again, which kind of like link into this. We've had so many guests over the last 3 years who just are so passionate about community coming together, whether it's a choir, whether it's a walking group, whatever, you know, activity is that they're doing. How much more do we need in terms of having dance spaces for people like that, you know? So we're always encouraging people, oh God, this choir is incredible, it's bringing people together, you don't even need to be able to sing well, just get there and stuff like that. But I personally don't know anywhere where I can send people, oh, they just meet on a Thursday and they dance, or, you know, there's kind of not really them options, is there?
There isn't. And I'm not going to sit here and say, listen, I think that there should be more studios or dance studios. I think a way in which we can start that is it could be reintroduced within the school system, and I think that that's where it could start, is an understanding at a very young age that this is how you can express those feelings, and you can move. You know, the system is no longer designed to educate educators, so you don't have to be on this track to become a tenured professor. Like, I'll be very honest and open and say that I remember when I'd passed the exams to get into Merchant Tailors, for example. I remember going in with my mum, and I remember him looking at me going, what is it you want to do? I said, oh, I want a career in the arts. And he went, okay, grow up, pick a subject. I looked at my mum straight away and went, I'm done. And it was that little layer of going, you don't even take me seriously. This is where I can see where I'm going. So what's the point? And I'll be honest, even then at dance college, like, they tried to push me down the teaching of dance route, and I was like, so you want me to pay to take these exams? I'm not wanting to teach, I'm wanting a performance career for a while, and then I've got to pay annually to, you know, to kind of keep these qualifications up. So coming back to your point earlier about, you know, the monetization layer of that, I think it's been exploited to that point, and I don't begrudge anyone for charging for dance lessons, because that's what it is. It's a service. So I think starting at the school system. The other point on dance is that we've spoke a lot about this being a solo endeavour, and then it's in that side, it's couples dance and it's partner dance. Yeah. So one of the biggest things that I took on over in the States was at the Collegiate Network with a psychology professor, a really dear friend of mine, Dr. Neil Klein, tenured psychology professor at Lesley University in Boston. And we took on Title IX within the Collegiate Network through a style of dance called West Coast Swing. And that was the power of safe touch. So non-sexual touch, non-violent touch, non-aggressive touch. The idea that, again, I can have a non-verbal form of communication for the length of a song with a stranger, and it can be this mutual exchange. So partner dancing or couples dancing, and the understanding of how you go about that etiquette, I feel like that's lost as well. I think that there'd be a lot less fights in the world. I think that there'd be a lot less aggravation layer of that, or what bubbles up inside of people. If we're able to educate how you truly consent to touch, and that doesn't have to just be sexual. I feel like that's where that lives, but consent is even a handshake. If I stretch my hand out, if I'm putting my arm out in front of me, I'm straightening my elbow and I'm tensing my wrist, I've now invaded your space. So then I come back to saying space is now my own personal space, not just a physical space or an outdoor. So understanding what we can take from dance and sprinkle into society in subtle layers without having to call it dance because it seems stigmatic. I think that's where we need to start looking first.
It's an amazing way to finish, I think. It's great advice. Yeah. Rob, we can't thank you enough. Honestly, you've been such an amazing guest. I think we could sit here and talk all day. There's so many things, just incredible. But honestly, thank you so much. It's been amazing.
Thank you, lads.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Thanks very
One
much.
big man hug.
Yeah.
We can all play a role in suicide prevention. Spotting the signs and starting a conversation with someone you're worried about can feel daunting.
But free online training from the Zero Suicide Alliance could help you gain the skills and confidence to have a potentially life-saving conversation.
It takes just 30 minutes and you never know when you might need to use it.
Be prepared. Take the training today. Visit zerosuicidealliance.com or search ZSA Suicide Awareness Training. Because one life lost is one too many.
Okay, it's this part of the Man Hug now where we shine a spotlight on a local project. And we've got Brian with us, who is the founder of Thrive Guys. Brian, welcome to the Man Hug.
Cheers, thanks for having me on, mate.
Oh, it's amazing to have you. We've been following your work on social media. It looks amazing what you're doing, so it's going to be great to talk all about Thrive Guys. But before we do that, like we do with every guest, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm just a normal fella, say normal, bit out there. Married, 2 kids, older now, 24 and 22. So, yeah, I've got a little bit bored later on in my life. The kids are growing up now and looking for that next little thing that's going to light me up. And I suppose that's where Thrive come from. It definitely is lighting me up, yeah.
Amazing. So, Thrive Guys then, what was the thought process before starting that? What made you get out and do that?
Well, Thrive Guys came from probably my own journey in life. Like we say mental health now, I have my own dip in life and I'd never really experienced anything like that before. I was always quite an upbeat, centre of attention, bringing the high energy, having a laugh and that. And then when this hit me in lockdown, I was just like, where's this come from, mate? But I see it now, after going on a men's retreat for 5 days, which absolutely transformed my life. It made me stop and evaluate what life's really about. And I was just a workaholic, and life's for living, isn't it? Sometimes you can't take it all with you. So, yeah, I started making drastic changes after learning about meditation, breath work, checking in a group as fellas, speaking. I'd never been in that environment before, sat in a circle and talking with men. I was like, But now I think it's vital, especially if you're going through change and you're on your own. So yeah, that's where Thrive was born. I felt after the retreat, I feel like I had a calling to go back and teach men what I've been taught on this retreat. And it wasn't cheap, this retreat, like it was. And I thought, there's men out there who couldn't afford to do this. Like, I've been given a gift. And yeah, that's when it was born. I thought, let's start the walks.
Yeah. So is that how it kind of then planned out? You thought, right, what I'll do is I'll see if I can get some fellas together to walk at first?
Yeah, at first, yeah. Well, like, when I was on the retreat, like, when I've grown up, I've always played football. I've played football at quite a good standard, and I've always been, like, that leader in the dressing room. But that been suppressed for years. When I become, like, a dad, we moved abroad for, like, 10 years and moved away from local society and started changing a bit, moving away as well, because you move away from your norm. And then when I moved back, I was like, whoa, who am I? And yeah, when I started the walks, I was like, let's just see how it goes. Craig said to me on Men Without Masks, he said, maybe you weren't meant to be a leader on the football field, maybe a leader in men of society. And I thought, wow, yeah, so let's give it a go, put it out for walks. Plus at the time, there was quite a lot of male suicide, especially in my local area as well. And I'd gone through the process of having suicide thoughts, which took me to a scary place. Luckily enough, I had my wife, who was great support, and 2 amazing kids. But it made me think on that retreat of how many men out there who haven't got that support. And all it takes is maybe just sit down and voice your opinion of where you're at. So yeah, that's when it was born.
Amazing. It's so good that it's come from like your own experience, and then you flip that round to go, well, actually, you know, I've now developed some tools myself, and I'm going to go and help other fellas.
And it's just simple tools. We just touched on them when we were talking then about thanking your wife and all that, didn't we?
Yeah. You know, like I said, just off air or whatever, the amount of fellas who've been on here just thinking how a woman has been there, their wife, their mums, sisters and things like this, whatever, but there's always been that. But as you touched on there earlier, those who haven't got, people like that.
It's funny as well, because you don't realise you got that sometimes when you go through a change. But I know now the retreat as well, it's the first time I even talked about the feminine side or anything, you know, because I've never even heard anything like that. And you've got to be in touch. Well, on the retreat, they teach you about the 4 archetypes: the lover, the warrior, the magician, and the king, and we've all got it possessed inside us. So trying to teach them tools to the men as well when you are feeling low, it's okay, but there's different aspects you got to tap into then. Maybe it's your job, you got to step into your warrior. There's loads of changes, I believe, out there.
Yeah, amazing. So from like the start of it, with it being walks, what kind of things do you offer now with Thrive Guys?
So yeah, mainly the first walk is every first Sunday of every month, and that's just to get men, kickstart the month really, get men around men. It's like, we've all grown up, haven't we, being either in that sports team, the morale around men, and some men miss that. Some men are okay on their own, and I get that. But for me, certainly, being around the fellas, having a laugh, being a bit daft now and again, but let's do some talking, let's get things off our chest. It definitely sets you up for the month ahead. Throw in a cold water dip.
Throw it in. Yeah, just throw it in there.
It's just like, people turn up and think we're just going on a walk sometimes, and they think we're just going to go on a big walk, but I like to introduce different things, so it puts you out your comfort zone. I'm asking you to go and talk to a man that you haven't drove down with. You automatically start thinking, oh, what? But when you go and do it, and then you find out another man's story, something liberating happens. And then I'll throw in a breathwork there with a nice scenery. I've actually had lads who have come and used the walk, and they've got that deep into the breathwork now. They've took themselves from being rock bottom, experienced the walks, got into the breathwork, and now they're leading breathworks just to build their confidence. So, and then let's touch on the cold water.
So tell us all about that then.
That's been my. I suffer with ADHD, so I'm a bit fast-brained. So the cold water in my life has slowed everything down, and it's installed discipline. Because nobody wants to go and get in cold water, mate. But when you do it, the dopamine levels raise, you feel it, you're like, oh, what's this? And then if you're surrounded by a load of other men who've got that energy again, you take that home with you, and it's infectious. So that's why I continued them, mate.
Yeah, so it's amazing. It is. It's class, like, you know. And if you are doing with a group, whatever. But yeah, sometimes it's a case of, oh yeah, I need to buy some button mushrooms, but I'll just leave it at that.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah, that's brilliant. So with each walk, do you try and do a cold plunge as well?
I always throw it in there.
Yeah.
I always regulate a walk and make sure there's a cold dip, there's a nice location where we sit and do a breath work. And none of these are compulsory. Like, the first step for men, some men who are just feeling that low, no motivation, is actually turning up at the car park. We'll probably touch on this in a bit, but I've got dreams, I've got visions of moving forward, and I'm seeing hurdles that men are coming up against, and one of them's picking that phone up and saying, is there any room in a car for me to get there? There's a lot of men out of work, struggling for money, financial, and the first hurdle's to get moving again, get talking, then the motivation starts coming, then the job applications start flying out. So the first hurdle is getting men there. Once they get them there, it's like, can we get them in a car? But my dream's to get a little minibus, so I can offer that other service. So yeah, that's another part of it.
It's kind of something we've touched on a lot, isn't it? With the last podcast we had at Andy's Man Club, and we spoke about, for a lot of men, that can seem a million miles away, just getting out of the door, or, you know, turning up somewhere. You know, it can just fill you with so much anxiety and dread, the thought of even just going there, can't it? So, how have you found it once men get to Thrive Guys? Is it something that, you know...
Wow, feedback. I'm just reading one this morning. It's just... And it never stops, this. It's like... This is why I continue. This is why I love it as well, because I've found a passion and I can see what it can do to men. And we can touch on depression and all that. We've got men who have gone through bereavements. They've lost their parents and they don't know how to deal with it. They're isolating themselves away. That's the first call. We've got addictions coming out with us. We've got fellas on it who are now 16 months clean because they see a different walk of life. I explain it. These aren't the answers. There's different tools out there, and this is what I'm trying to bring. I want to grow it a little bit more, but at the moment, the last 4 years has been a massive learning curve for me. Listening to men, that's the biggest part. We don't listen sometimes, do we? But for 4 years, listening to different men's struggles, what they struggle to get over, it's been like a university degree for me, to be honest with you. Yeah. So yeah.
Brilliant. And do you see, like, you know, being there around these guys all the time, do you see their confidence grow? Or?
Massive. So it's the funny part of it is, and I do like to have humour, I like to have a laugh as well. Yeah. And I've got a little wellness hub over in Runcorn now, which got donated through a podcast I sat on last time. This is why I never turn this stuff away, because you never know what's going to come from it. Exactly. And I never reach out really for stuff. I always believe it'll come to you at the right time. And I got a wellness hub, so I thought I've got to start doing stuff in there now. So I started putting on little bridesmen's mystery nights, and it was, again, just sitting in circles, maybe doing a breath work, just stuff that men had never tried before. And I thought, if it can work for me, maybe it can work for a lot more men. And so yeah, I've been doing some of that stuff as well in the hub. That's
brilliant. So can people just refer into that, or how's it work?
Yeah, so I'm at the moment... Social media is a struggle, and I've got to give a big plug. The girl who got me on this show, she keeps pushing me because, you know, Kelsey, she does a fantastic job on the social media. That's over my head. She pushing me, Brian, these videos, but people want to listen to you. You're helping people get on the walks, and I've gone out and brought a DJI camera just to try and get more footage. But do you know what, mate? I'm the type of person that I want people to come on this walk and feel relaxed. I don't want to be walking around with this social media circus, putting cameras in the face and going. I feel like at the right moment, I'll get that footage when they're ready to promote how Thrive has transformed them to get to where they are now. So that's what I'm looking for moving forward.
We found out with quite a lot of groups, haven't I? I would go back to the Florrie, the men's walking group there. Brilliant. You know, we've had them on a few times. We've done the walks with them. They're great lads, aren't they? But they've said the same, really, how like a a lot of guys have come and you just watch their confidence build week in, week out, and in the end, they're the voice of the social media and they're encouraging other men to come and stuff, and it works organically, doesn't it?
It's like a ripple effect. I got taught it's a ripple effect. That's what I'm doing now. I caught the ripple effect from people in this city who made me sit up and go, wow, there's more to life. The Scanos out there, and just like, again, other walking groups, the Florrie, and seeing things like that happen. I've always had it in, like, let's start it, like, nothing's going to happen if you don't give it a go, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Majority of the projects that have come on as well, or groups, you know, it's guys who've just took that plunge and gone and done it themselves, either because they know how much it benefits themselves, or they've realised there's nothing within that locality for
there's also nothing within locality. It's also the fact that, like, you know, you go to, you know, we said before, you go to a health professional and they just say, okay, take medication, do this, whatever. It's all this kind of structured, this, you know, do this, do that, whatever, all those kind of things. And, you know, I'm sure it's the same in a lot of other cities, but what I find here in Liverpool is the fact that they're going, this isn't working for me, if there's nothing for me, I'm going to set up my own thing. And it's phenomenal going.
It's a massive awakening, I believe. I was part of it, and I believe it. I've studied it for the last 4 years, because I've never experienced, so I wanted to delve in. And the people I surround myself by now as well is a massive part of it. Not saying the people from the past were bad, they got me to the person I was today, but if I'm not feeling happy about myself, maybe I've got to change what I've been doing. It's like the hamster wheel, isn't it?
It's how people gravitate to you, not just trying to, they gravitate, it's like goes for, like, you know, that kind of thing. So maybe that's what it is. It's just like, yeah, okay, I want to hang out here.
Yeah, 100%. I think you can only grow through around other people who are looking to grow themselves as well. And there's so much distractions out there in the world, that society at the minute, isn't it? And it's holding men back. They're struggling with it all. It's changing so fast.
Because one thing I liked you said, it was about the breathing technique, and it is something which I do. Like, you know, I did it last night. I was that worked up going to sleep last night because Leeds got beaten in the last in injury time, but it was a great game. Fair play to Newcastle. I was doing 8 in, hold 4, 7, whatever. I'd say within 5 minutes I was dead to the world.
Mate, it's all science proven now. There's no arguing from it now. And if you can there's good lads in this city. I've went and sat on Breathworks with, and if you can get the right one to guide you through one, you can have profound things can happen to you. I'm a big believer, and that's why I put it on the walks, because it can actually help change your life, your thought process. It definitely helped rewire my thinking, my positivity, being grateful for the smallest things. Don't take things for granted. Judgmental. I was very judgmental as a man, very angry as a man because things hadn't happened my way. All that feels like it's been stripped away now, because I know who I am now. And again, that's what I'm continue to try and talk to on the walk was men. I want men to turn up on the walk and enjoy that they're out, have a laugh. I don't want to swarm like, oh, we're going to be doing this, we're going to be doing that. That's your choice. There's no one gets forced to do on this. I'm just lucky I've got that bit of a drive where I can entice men to give it a go. And once they give it a go, then the door's open then.
That's brilliant. There's one thing that you said before as well, which I absolutely love as well, where you were saying, you know, when you were a captain in a football team, or, you know, the vocal person, and then that kind of gets knocked out of you when you move into married life and things. Yeah. And I think it's the same for a lot of men, and I think these groups have the power to enhance their social circles again and form these really powerful sport networks.
100%. Well, where did we congregate? We went, played footy or your sport, and then it was back to the pub, wasn't it? That was the norm. It was the hamster wheel every week. But your social argument, I always say to the fellas, what was the best time when you walked into a pub? It was the first 15 minutes when everyone's coming in, you haven't seen each other for a week. All right, mate. And then you start getting on the aisle, don't you? And then a couple more, and then a couple more, and then was what society brings, then other things open, and before you know it, you're depressed the next day and all that. And this is what's been happening for years, I believe. I was part of it, I played the game. It didn't feel nice, so I love my life now. The decisions I make now.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So anyone who's sort of like listening, how can they get involved in Thrive Guys?
it's just an open walk to start off with. It's a free walk. People say, oh, don't you ever charge it? And I'm like, it's free to go walking. It's my payments in seeing men send me messages saying, listen, after 3 walks, I'm out now with my wife and the kids, and we've just got out in nature, and thanks for giving me that push, because some men are struggling. I see them like wanting to come on the walk, they'll send a message, and I'll say, send us your number, mate, and I'll just put his mind at ease and say, you're just coming out with the lads. You can. We had a fella this week, he walked and he had a pair of headphones on, and I thought, he's out, he's walking, and then gradually, like, I had a word with him, and then his guard started coming down then. Maybe it'll take 1 or 2 walks. You know what fellas are like, we're so rigid, aren't we? And like, we can't, what do we say? And, but like anything, I'm on my 3rd podcast now, so the more you do something, you're there.
That's
so
it. So are the best going on to the
on the social media? So I've got my own page, GoPro Bri. I need to change that to DJI Bri now because I've changed over devices. But I run that, so anything I post, I'll like share onto the Thrive page if anything about the walks. But then the Thrive guys page, which we've called now this year, is run by Kelsey, and she'll put up the flyers when I've got stuff going on. This year is my goal to do more stuff in the hub and get more men in on my bridesmen's mystery classes. And a few of them have been in and they say, what are we doing? And I said, listen, it wouldn't be a mystery night, lad, if I told you. So that's just, again, taking you out your comfort zones again and lighting you up.
Amazing. I've been following the Thrive Guys Instagram account for ages, and it makes me smile just watching the amazing things that you do. And there was something you had posted again where it was like, when was the last time you did something from like your childhood? You know, when was the last time you played? And I absolutely love that, because I thought, God, you know, there comes a point where you just switch, don't you? You never play anymore, and you never do anything like that, and you lose all of that kind of pleasure that you got. But bringing that into, like, you know, your outdoor work that you do, I think is fantastic.
I think we've all got to do that at times, haven't we? Life's not that serious. You, until your blinkers are down, your blinkers are on, aren't they? When you open up, you're like, life's for having fun, isn't it? It's like, it's tough enough with, I mean, I don't want to go down the route, but how the government are suppressing us anyway. So instead of getting involved in that and putting all your anger and your energy of how they're trying to suppress us, let's make our own fun. It's nothing better when you come home after a good laugh. And like sometimes I get up, sometimes like 5 years we're going into now, first Sunday of every month, and I'm proud to say it's gone for 4 years now. And the amount of men who have come through them, like, I think on the 2nd year, the first walk of the year, 75 men were in the car park. So I was like, whoa, this is needed. But I love these smaller groups because it gets more, you can talk. I do know men can get overwhelmed with big numbers, and these walks aren't about success of how many men I can get on the walks. These walks are for, if you feel like you're going through a change, you're feeling lonely, you're struggling, you want to put a bit of zest in your life, get out and get some fresh air in, try something different, then these walks are for you. Not everyone on these walks is walking around mental health up and like going through, do you know what I mean? I've had guys come on thinking it was going to be like that. And I was like, nah, it's so far from the truth. Like, we'll talk about it, we accept it, but let's Thrive guys, come on, let's do something about it. And
what we've noticed on the walking groups we've been, you don't have to directly talk about mental health to talk about mental health, you know.
No.
You might be just talking about, God, I had a crap day in work, or, you know, I'm on antibiotics for a chest infection, whatever it is that you're going through that week or what have you. That's indirectly talking about your mental health, isn't it? And someone's there to support you and G you up, you know.
Yeah, definitely. and you know, there's little teachings I'm trying to put out there is like, when you finally turn up for yourself, because that's the first step, you turn up for yourself. That might be the ball starting to roll. It's like, then we'll start talking about now then is how you're talking to yourself. Like, I've learnt all these different tools of like manifestation and like setting goals for yourself. You need to strive for something and little things like that, and talking about that, then go home and then go, oh bloody hell, and I'll give them little audios to listen to if they are struggling, and listening to podcasts, listening to another man's voice sometimes can be the spark. It was for me.
Yeah?
Yeah,
That's
it was
amazing.
for me. Listening to a podcast opened my eyes, yeah.
Fantastic. We're massive supporters of what you do. I'd say we can't encourage people enough to get out there and have a look at what Thrive Guys are doing. So make sure you get on their social media, give them a follow. And if you know someone that would benefit from it, then I guess you just make contact through your social media.
Yeah, just drop us a message,
Yeah.
them messages, and someone will always get back to you. We've got a men's WhatsApp group that once you get on the walks, if you like the look of it and you want to keep up with the information, stuff that I'm doing through the week, you can get on there as well.
Amazing. Brian, it's incredible what you do, mate. Honestly, you can't, give yourself so much, you've really got to commend yourself for what you do, mate, honestly.
And you know what, thanks for having us on as well. I've had loads of stuff. I've had to get out my comfort zone and we touched on talking into a camera and doing this stuff, and I've just grown over the 4 years because I've took myself out the comfort zone. I've had a documentary made about us. We've had a song made. That's all been in film festivals. So I just say to any man out there, you're capable of greatness. You've just got to take that first step forward, and there's people out there who help you and guide you.
Yeah. I think you've just summed up what the Manhole podcast is, to be honest. Everything you've just said there is everything we try to...
I love this as well. No one's competing against anyone. I think this year people should come together,
of course.
connection and all that. See other men's groups doing it and maybe make a contact, and let's make one point where we can all meet.
Do you know what? It's so true. We said at the very, very start 3 years ago, didn't we? The whole point of this is to bring men together to save lives. And the way to do that is to shine a spotlight on everything that exists in this amazing city and beyond. Because not one thing suits all. Let's give everyone options where they can go.
There's different things out there. People might not levitate to me on a walk, but on another one, they might get them. But you get how you come from. Never stop. Always keep finding that next little thing that's going to light you up.
That's true. Amazing. Thanks for being such an amazing guest. Carry on doing what you're doing. I can only see this going from strength to strength. And hopefully we'll have you back on in a couple of years as well.
Hopefully I'll have you out on one of the walks.
Oh,
soon.
definitely.
Get out,
I'm sure me, Conliffe and Dan will be up for the plunge, but Ian's a bit... where was it? It was Ballaleak we got him in, wasn't it?
We
got him in eventually.
In the nip. Step off down the nip and you get
You're welcome anytime. Come feel the energy. I'll put a lot into the walks, you know what I mean? I don't want to just turn up and it be flat. That's my opportunity for once a month to bring my energy.
We'll definitely come to one. Yeah, sounds amazing.
Look forward to it.
Thank you so much, Brian. You've been an amazing guest. Cheers, mate.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
If you or anybody else you know is struggling with their mental health, visit hubofhope.co.uk or download the app today and find local and national mental health support.
Thanks for listening to The Man Hug. Please make sure that you come and follow us on Instagram. It's @TheManHug. You can also do a search for us on TikTok and YouTube.